It's now time to look at the headlines on the front pages of Nigerian newspapers. And first with me here is Blueprint, with the main headline reading, Tripartite Committee submits report. Labour insists on living wage. Federal government awaits Labour leaders' return from Geneva. Reps Reform Group proposes 6-year single term for president, governors. INEC harps on inclusive elections, professionalism of personnel. Nigeria can earn $11 billion annually from livestock, as according to Minister. The federal government, states, local governments share 1.143 trillion naira for May. Aircraft carrying Malawi's Vice President Chilima, 9 others missing. Nakon completes airlift of pilgrims ahead of deadline. And the EFCC recovers 20 properties, 10 vehicles, others for Arthur Eze. No plan to revoke Fidelity, Polaris, Wema, Unity Bank's licenses. That's according to CBN. Right here, World Cup qualifiers. Benin shock Super Eagles in Abidjan. Next is the West newspaper. Southwest governors endorse state police adopt Ishewa Fuinlewa as regional anthem. Sanwo-Olu emerges forum chair. Relief for Ogun pensioners as Abiodun approves higher gratuity, reviews monthly income. Minimum wage committee submits reports, awaits Tinubu's action. Rainstorm renders 50 homeless in Ekiti. Governor promises support. Alaafin's tool, Makinde distances self from anointing any candidate, seeks peace. Also, on the ear of the newspaper, Borussia Dortmund's Karim Adeyemi grants scholarships to 10 Ibadan students. Next is Nigerian News Direct. Food insecurity. Nigerians battle economic hardship over hike of prices of rams, foodstuff as inflation bites harder. And the riders read, households spend 60% of income on food as import bill hits 1.4 trillion naira. Families shun Salah rams, low-key celebration imminent across the country. NNPC Limited refutes allegations of inflated subsidy claims. Access acquires majority stake in African Banking Corporation of Tanzania. Fitch upgrades Fidelity Bank's rating to positive. Southwest governors unite, appoint Sanwo-Olu as new chairman. Airtel Africa, VAT import duties, others yield decreased returns in June. That's according to the FAC. Next is the Nation newspaper. Southwest governors go into massive food production. Region rejects Yoruba agitation. Okays state police. Sanwo-Olu is chair. And then you see the commissioners for agriculture of all the states should set up a working template which will ensure collaboration based on each state's comparative advantage. That's the quotation there. Argungu replaces Arase as PSC chair. Eagles World Cup qualification, shaky. You see that on page 31. And then Rivers, G27 lawmakers remain PDP members. Court rules they are to make laws for state, says judge. State government faults Rivers High Court judgment. Lloyd says verdict unassailable. And above the masthead, Nigeria conducive for business, Edun tells multinationals. Microsoft retains interest. Alleged 423 billion naira fraud. EFCC raises team to probe El-Rufai, others. Tinubu yet to get minimum wage tripartite committee report. And the CBN reaffirms financial stability of banks. And on the bottom strip, Syric has in law failed to execute 2.8 billion naira contract. Ex-director tells court. Next is Daily Independent. Reps seek single tenure of 6 years for president, governors, rotation of presidency among 6 geopolitical zones. Southwest governors adopt common agenda for regional prosperity. Sanwo-Olu becomes forum's chairman. Southeast among highest in human trafficking is according to NAPTIP. And federal government, state, local governments share 1.143 trillion naira May 2024 revenue. Again, CBN reassures on safety of banks. Tinubu appoints ex-DIG Argungu chairman of PSC. PDP silent as court declares pro-Wike lawmakers members. Court didn't say assemblymen are PDP members. This is according to Rivers Attorney General. CSO petitions NJC over Rivers High Court judgment. Above the nameplate, National Assembly invites stakeholders over airport concession. And national minimum wage, Labour may resume strike as deadline to federal government ends today. On the bottom strip, aircraft carrying Malawi's vice president missing. Next is the Guardian newspaper. Piecemeal restructuring. Row as House revives single 6-year tenure bill after 4 failed attempts. Face out electricity subsidy. 36 governors tell federal government. 4.8 million persons at risk of acute hunger in Northeast. FAO warns. Bandits shoot soldiers, kill several persons in Niger, Katsina. Power crisis deepens as Gencos receive 4.7% of invoiced amount. Labour insists on 250,000 naira as state governors earn 6.71 trillion naira in 1 year. Embattled Rivers lawmakers remain in PDP. Court rules. Youth protest. EFCC's raid on Ondo nightclubs. That's about it for the Guardian newspaper. Next is New Telegraph. New Telegraph reads, reps seek rotational 6-year single term for president, governors, 2 vice presidents. And the rider reads, want all elections in 1 day, mandatory electronic transmission of results. Also, we have aircraft carrying Malawi vice president goes missing. Tinubu removes Arase, appoints Argungu as new PSC chair. And then customs intercepts 129,185 liters of fuel worth 90.5 million naira in the Northwest. 27 Rivers lawmakers still PDP members. Court rules. And the minimum wage, Labour awaits Tinubu's executive bill. Evening physical activity lowers blood sugar levels, as according to study. And above the masthead, CBN external debt servicing gobbed $2.19 billion in 5 months. Reassures bank customers of fund safety. Allocation, federal government, states, local governments share 1.14 trillion naira for May. And last but not least, with me here is the Vanguard newspaper. 10th National Assembly, 24 senators have no bill in 1 year. Mahi sponsored 1 bill before accepting ministerial appointments. Reps propose single tenure of 6 years for president, governors. Tinubu replaces IGP Arase with Argungu as chairman. A police service commission. Minimum wage, SGF receives tripartite committee report. Sanwo-Olu emerges chairman of Southwest Governors Forum. And then, above the nameplate, NDDC proposes 1.911 trillion naira as 2024 budget. PDP membership, 25 lawmakers, Rivers government disagree over court order. And then Algon rejects 62,000 naira minimum wage. Banks borrow 10.9 trillion naira from CBN in 1 month as deposits rise 120%. Olamide.
I begin here with the platform times. Federal government, state, local government share 1.1 trillion naira May revenue. Police rescue U.S. citizen in Lagos from a suicide attempt on the 3rd mainland bridge. A Nigerian Judicial Council petition to investigate controversial Rivers High Court ruling as Women Affairs Ministry, NAPTIP, collaborate for rehabilitation of Nigerian girls rescued from Ghana. Court award 25 million naira damages against Kano government police for wrongful accusation of Rep. Dogua. Ogun residents protest alleged Oba imposition urged Governor Abiodun's intervention. And finally, ex-Amosun's aides seek President Tinubu's intervention over severance gratuity in Ogun. The story is making the front page of Platform Times. I move to the Daily Times. Substantiate your allegations. Defense headquarters challenges AI. Alleged abuse of women, children. Says AFN is a professional military that operates within ambit of international law of armed conflicts. Respect human rights. DIG charges police officers, and on the minimum wage tripartite committee submit report to the federal government on judgment enforcement. ECOWAS court dismisses the Suki suit against the federal government. The federal government states local government share 1.143 trillion naira for May. President Tinubu firmly committed to youth empowerment, says the Vice President, Senator Kashim Shettima. The story is making the front page of the Daily Times. On the leadership, conversion cost infrastructure deficit threatened CNG initiative. That's on compressed natural gas. 1.6 liter engine conversion cost 400,000 naira. Experts decry distribution expenses. CBN dismisses license revocation rumors as the federal government spends $2.19 billion on debt servicing. Ondo polls. INEC warns corrupt officials against compromise. And on the minimum wage, we will not resume the strike for now. That's according to the Labour President, Judicial. Plane carrying Malawi's Vice President missing. Prices soar. Ram sells for 1 million naira in Kaduna ahead of Idel Kabir celebration. That's it on the leadership. On the Daily News Hub, reps propose 6-year single tenure for president governors, while Labour will not resume the strike today. Jero and a tripartite committee submit reports to the federal government. Girls who fled Boko Haram captivity meet surrendered husbands in government camps, according to Amnesty International. No plans to revoke licenses of Fidelity, Polaris, Unity banks, according to the CBN. Sanwo-Olu elected Southwest Governors Forum chairman. And finally, Russia sending Nigerians, other African students to war for visa renewal, according to a report. A plane carrying Malawi's vice president still missing. The story is making the front page of Daily News App. To this Nigeria, a court strikes out suits to sack 27 Rivers lawmakers, says no evidence to show they defected from PDP to APC. Amid CBN's tightening measures, money supply surged to 96.97 trillion naira in April. Southwest governors renew calls for creation of state police, elect Governor Sanwo-Olu as forum's chair. Kano distributes 5th presidential palliatives to the vulnerable across 44 local government areas, receives more commodities, and why we cannot declare another strike now. The biggest story of this Nigeria. Nigeria says a workers' union awaits President Tinubu's word on minimum wage before taking the next step. A tripartite committee submits reports again to the federal government. On First News, no strike until we hear from the president, says Labour vows to reject 100,000 naira starvation wage as SGF receives tripartite committee report on minimum wage. I have not tampered with local government funds since I became governor. That's according to Plateau State's governor. 35 reps champions 6-year single term for president, governor, electoral reforms. NNPCL dismisses allegations of inflated fuel subsidy payments. And on the top right, our vice president is still missing, says Malawi government declares aircraft missing. On NYC portal crash, prospective core members stranded in Cross River. Bandits, after collecting taxes, still destroy our crops, according to Kaduna farmers. And FAC allocates 1.143 trillion naira federal, state, local government may share 2024 revenue. That's it on our first news paper. I move to Daily Trust. 30 reps advocate 6-year single term for president, governors. Hoodlums jump fence, steal Salaram in FCT cancel. Bandits kill 4 officers in 22 orders in Katsina State, according to the police. And we will not accept 100,000 naira, Labour says. Ojero in Geneva says no strike for now. Local governments cannot pay 62,000 naira. And suspends as tripartite committee submit report to President Tinubu. Finally, in sports, Man United prepared to offload Sancho. And the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifier NFF expresses anger over a wrong anthem by Benin Republic. Al Ahly set to trigger Osimhen's 120 million euros release clause. Leicester City offer Ndidi new 2-year deal. And Finidi 2 Nigerians, we cannot throw in the towel. The story is making the front page of the Sporting Life. That's it on the newspapers this morning.
Right, absolutely. And I believe that Nigerians are actually up to date with the latest information that we've brought to them.